Hello, Oscar. You just forgot the game.
I did not forget the game. I remember every game I have ever played, and also every game that I ever played that I will ever talk about, ever.
Okay. We just talked about Star Wars.
Yes.
But for everyone else, it will have been a while since we talked about Star Wars. Yes. And today we have, keeping on theme, I guess, with the sort of, I'll say, not really contenders for the throne.
No, this is we're kind of, like cleaving through the chaff here.
Yeah.
It's completely whatever.
Yeah, we have two games, though, that I think one of them, they're sort of noteworthy in history for some reasons. One, because it just cost so much money to make and it completely tanked. And one of them, because maybe this isn't true, maybe the game isn't sort of this sort of meme classic, but we have spent a lot of time playing fighting games and talking with people about fighting games. And this game, I think, is truly a meme in terms of fighting games, I'll say.
Yeah, and I mean, sure, it's a meme, but it's also like there's a finite amount of people that even know the game exists, even as a meme.
Maybe we should say, we're talking about Star Wars Masters of Teras Kasi.
Yes.
And the other game is Star Wars Battlefront 2, the EA version.
Yes.
But Masters of Teras Kasi is a game that I think lots of people, maybe not anymore, but at least back in the day, talk about in a memey way, but zero of them have actually played it.
I feel like this is true for a lot of Star Wars games. I'm starting to feel that way when I reflect over the games we have played and like what people think about them. I feel like there is such a... I don't say that people have like nostalgia for Teras Kasi, because I think everyone understands that this is a terrible game. But there's a lot of Star Wars games I feel that people have a lot of opinions about, but they either have never played them or they have not played them recently at all.
Yes, I'd agree with that. Though I'd go even further in this case and say that the lifeblood of discussion about fighting games is talking about things you haven't experienced. For example, right now, in the year 2023, there is a weird booming Fightcade JoJo's scene.
Yes.
Right? But there definitely didn't used to be.
No.
But even pre-anime, 4 people in the world know about JoJo's the manga.
Yes.
Or manga, sorry. You'd still have people go, dude, like Pet Shop, like the bird.
Yeah.
Masters of Teras Kasi is that.
Yes. It just exists as something that people like to bring up when they're thinking about what sort of, alleged fighting game trivia can I bring up in this conversation.
Dude, like Masters of Teras Kasi.
Yeah, it's like that Star Wars fighting game, dude. Have you ever played that shit? It's like, wow, you can throw the thermal detonator.
Because he's holding a thermal detonator.
We both played Masters of Teras Kasi.
Yes, we played it versus.
Yes. We didn't try any weird single player. We played it in versus mode. In my mind, currently, it's very occupied with fighting game stuff.
Yes.
I've been thinking a lot about like controllers and input lag, and when I started writing a little, some of my thoughts about Masters of Teras Kasi, it just struck me that like, how many people who started playing fighting games, like, I don't know, 10 years ago, let's say 10 years ago, so 2013, those people, they played Street Fighter 5, say, and they went, man, input lag. This game is so unresponsive. You don't know what the fuck input lag is. Like, you haven't played an unresponsive game. You haven't played a game with poor controls.
Yeah.
Ever. The most lag-reduced setup of Masters of Teras Kasi is an underwater online match.
Yeah. In the modern age, you won't find a game, or in this case, a fighting game, that has, wow, this game has, objectively bad controls.
Yeah.
Like, unless it's like, dude, this is like a Newgrounds Flash game. Or
exactly.
Like,
there are no games that just don't work.
Yeah, like games are at a level of, competence in how they are developed, that you can play the game and it works, and then if it's good or not is another matter. But this game you cannot play.
No, the motions are, all of them are really fucking weird. Yeah. There is a command list, but it doesn't help you.
Just forget about that. You know how in Mortal Kombat you have this weird motions, or weird compared to most other 2D fighters.
Down, forward,
it's
and
back, or up, down, like that sort of thing, and you hold block and so you don't jump or that sort of stuff. I feel like this is somewhat inspired by that, and you might be like, oh yeah, I played Mortal Kombat, I didn't like the motions, or like if you feel that way about Mortal Kombat, imagine Mortal Kombat times like a billion galaxies far away in unresponsiveness. The game, I won't say the game doesn't work, because it starts up and you can start matches, but the game is impossible to play, and I know that somewhere out there's
Masters of Teras Kasi.
The master of Teras Kasi is out there somewhere watching this, Googling videos about Teras Kasi, and then they watch this like, oh no, dude, actually, you just have to really understand this. Like, no, you're wrong. Master, you are wrong.
I think history has proven that Masters of Teras Kasi is wrong.
Yes.
They made it wrong. This is not how you make the game.
Yes, and they didn't make it wrong as a joke.
No.
They made it wrong.
They just made it wrong.
Seriously.
The game is a bit like Soul Calibur meets Mortal Kombat. It's a bit weird.
I haven't played Street Fighter EX to any real extent.
No.
But this came out a year after Street Fighter EX, so
Yeah. Because it's interesting, because we just spent a lot of time shitting. The first line of my thoughts on Masters of Teras Kasi is the game is basically like complete garbage. But Masters of Teras Kasi is intensely funny.
Yes, a very entertaining game.
It's a comedy game.
Yes.
And this, I think, is true in almost all aspects. Like, first off, the name of the game is funny. Yes, Masters of Teras Kasi.
It's like the elephant in the room whenever you talk about it. Because I get it, in some, paragraph of extremely hidden extended universe lore, someone in some book wrote, in space there's a martial art called Teras Kasi, and then they're like, that one, because they're fighting, dude, and whatever, I get it, but I feel like it's sort of like the core of Star Wars in a way, you can write this shit, George, but you can't say it. Yeah. Why the fuck did you name the game Masters of Teras Kasi? Are you stoned? What the hell is going on? Well, who made this game?
Yeah, and so that's like the baseline. And you go, okay, so Teras Kasi is a martial art.
Yes. Anyone using Teras Kasi game?
No.
Is Leia a master of Teras Kasi? Who is using Teras Kasi?
No one is. You have people fighting with lightsabers, you have people fighting with axes, you have people with blasters, you have Boba Fett who just does the Psycho Crusher with rockets. Just the selection of characters is super funny.
Yes.
Let's not even mention that there's a character named Whore.
Yes, and let's not mention that there's a character named Fuck as well.
Fuck.
Whore versus Fuck.
Who I'd say we spent 98% of the time as.
Yeah, we very quickly homed in on just exclusively playing Fuck mirrors.
Yeah,
because and the Fuck is he's the Gamorrean guard. Yeah, Gamorrean guard character,
and he has some good mechanics.
Yes.
For one, the game is sort of iffy about when you can block and not, and how you can guard, which is very good when you have an axe that just axe battlers its way throughout the screen. I don't know how else to put it. But you can also, stay on the ground for extended periods of time. And some attacks just do insane amounts of damage on grounded.
Yes.
Doc has a fire breathing super, which is like an install. He becomes red, and then you can breathe fire. So you sort of do it, and then you end up it's unblockable, super unblockable, and it does a buttload of damage. And you hit someone on the ground with the fire, it just kills them.
Yes.
They're dead. And you'd think that would be the best thing with Thok, but he also has a super where he just goes big.
Yes. He just becomes the big fuck.
Yes. A big fucker.
The game has some great endings.
Yes. Oh my god. It's interesting. I'll let you maybe describe the best one, but it is interesting to me that the endings are either super duper mega vanilla soul blade, character stands in front of object while music plays, or
it's Hail the New Emperor. Bzap.
Darth Vader.
Yeah, so Darth Vader's ending is literally, it just says, I think it says, "All hail the new emperor" in caps lock.
Yeah.
And then it just instantly cuts to the Death Star ass blasting Alderaan.
Yes, and this it's
that's it, and it's over.
And it's like when you think
it's
about...
like it's like the cutscene directors were bipolar or something.
Yeah, because
what do we do today? I don't know. Put Boba Fett in front of Slave 1, play some music. Okay, well, I'm back from my lunch break. All hail the new emperor.
It's so funny because when you think of it, aside from the immediate insane funniness of it, because we were not prepared for Hail the New Emperor when we because we watched we didn't play the game. We watched it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And we were just like going through it, and it's like, well, dude, these endings are whack, yeah, whatever. And then it's like, Hail the New Emperor. And it completely destroyed me. I felt like okay, it's the best game ever.
Yeah.
But it's so funny when you consider like the ramifications of it, because like ponder the fact that because you played the Darth Vader in the game, and it's like you just chop up Luke, you chop up Han Solo, Hor, and Fock, and Leia, and everyone, Boba Fett, off with the head, go through the entire game, and then you say, Hail the New Emperor, and then you blow up Alderaan. So in this continuity of Star Wars, Alderaan wasn't even blown up, so it's like, why were they all there?
It's even better, because Alderaan wasn't blown up to pressure Leia into giving up any information. It's just Darth Vader, for whatever reason, becomes the new emperor and presses the button. And I guess Alderaan was the
what
closest.
happened to the old emperor? Nobody knows where the emperor is.
Yeah. So up against Masters of Teras Kasi is Electronic Arts first-person shooter, and I'll say we played the single-player campaign for this, which is funny because we have not included multiplayer as a viable option, but for Masters of Teras Kasi, obviously we played it against each other. But the single player of Battlefront 2 Electronic Arts, which released whatever year, 2018 maybe, something like that, met with extremely poor reviews, mostly because it had such egregious loot box bullshit, if I recall correctly. But I haven't played a match of
that has no bearing on the review. We have played the single player campaign of Battlefront 2.
Yeah, and I played this, I'll say.
Yes, you played this. From memory, I feel like the game is like an insult to creativity or something, because the game, first of all, this is like Mongolian Star Wars Prime. Or actually, no, it's not. It's not Mongolian Star Wars. It's just Disney Star Wars. It's just like,
I don't know. I think it does have some. I wouldn't say that it's Mongolian Prime,
it's not
as you said, but I'll interject here before you move on, because I have something I want to say on this exact point. I think this game visually is just like Rogue One, an experience that looks and sounds sort of identical to Star Wars.
Yes.
But there's something about the characters and how they behave, how they talk to each other, how they are from our world.
Yes.
That makes it Disney/Mongolian Star Wars, because that also happens in Rogue One.
Like, these are not Star Wars. These are not characters that have lived their entire lives in the Star Wars universe, with I don't know what that means, but Star Wars values, Star Wars, they don't have Star Wars brain.
No,
these
and
characters.
they don't talk to each other like Star Wars characters.
Exactly.
Star Wars is super operatic.
Yes.
And this is the thing. This has nothing to do, or I guess it has something to do with this game. But this is the reason why I will never ever watch Andor, and I won't talk to people who watch Andor. Yes. I won't look them in the eye. Or no, whatever. I'll do that. They can watch it and like it if they want to. But Star Wars isn't for me about that. It's not about like, look how multifaceted and human these characters are. They're not human.
Yeah.
They're from a galaxy far, far away.
Star Wars humans, and we've talked about this a lot over the years, but like Star Wars humans, they are not humans. No. They're not like you and me. Star Wars takes place an infinite time ago, infinite distance away. Yeah. Star Wars humans live in an environment where they are, just another alien among aliens and so on. And
it's a fucking space opera.
Yeah,
it's a space
opera, and like it's the same with like, oh, the dialogue in Star Wars is so bad. Like the dialogue is like this or that, but it's like it's supposed to be weird, and it's like because it's like going to the opera and complaining, why are they singing?
Well, I also think it's like, let's say you and I, we're from Sweden.
Yes.
If we had never ever experience, let's say we know English, we know some random standard, we know the version of English we have. If you show us any other culture but they still speak English, something like that, you just pick someone from fucking Texas or something, we'd go, wow, what's up with that? Why he sound like that? What big hat? And obviously we don't have that anymore because the world is super global.
Yes.
But Star Wars people, they don't have an accent.
No.
But they talk like fucking weirdos.
Yes.
They talk like weirdos. They act like weirdos. They're from a different culture.
Yes. It doesn't help that, all these gosh-fangled new modern games keep using, scanning everyone.
Yeah.
Like everybody wants to be weird Hideo Kojima now, and just scan all these celebrities and put them in the game so they have warped nightmare faces and walk around and be like, oh dude, it's Gus from Breaking Bad in Star Wars, isn't that amazing? And like that kind of stuff. And it's completely like people hugely undersell the fact that in the modern age how Star Wars, like the original movie Star Wars, was cast with majority unknown actors.
Yeah, random fucking people.
Yeah, it was like Alec Guinness and Peter Cushing were like the famous guys in Star Wars. Everyone else was like, who the hell are these people? And
I don't know if there's anyone famous in Battlefront 2 though, but
yeah.
Who cares?
Who's famous today? I don't know. I don't know any famous people.
As for the gameplay, the game is a first-person shooter. I think it's pretty obvious that the game is a multiplayer shooter with a bolted-on single player. It's fine. The game plays fine. If it had an interesting story, it would be a mediocre game.
It does not have an interesting story.
I think we might get to that later, but there isn't really... I guess you could argue that one thing that could be interesting with the game, I don't really think it is because I do not value Disney Star Wars and that timeline, is that the game jumps through movie eras.
Yeah.
It would have been way cooler if they jumped through... If you made a game that jumped... You're like a droid or something. Someone that lives really long. For a long time. Because they obviously put a ton of work into the visual fidelity. But it's... gameplay wise subpar shooter because it can't be a good shooter.
Yeah, like it's not designed to be played the way you have to play it in the single player campaign.
Well, okay, let's do this first because to me I think we're gonna... I'm almost gonna spoil it here. We'll read the reviews, but I'm pretty sure we're just gonna cut Battlefront 2 here. Ankles, leave them to bleed out.
I'll play Teras Kasi again before I even look at footage of Battlefront 2.
I could actually see myself playing Masters of Teras Kasi at like a like a get together with people or something. Probably won't happen, but maybe. So I have the review for Battlefront 2 AEA. I'll read it. You can do the Masters of Teras Kasi one, and then we've already concurred we're gonna kill Battlefront 2. Here's the review. Pretty nice graphics in this game. Shriv was somewhat okay. I can't remember who that was. So
who the fuck is Shriv?
I think we just won.
Everything else was bad. Insane levels of quippery, so there's your Disney Star Wars. Bearded Han Solo is a fucking Twilight Zone episode.
Come on, you know I'm good for it.
Holy shit, you kill a lot of people and TIE fighters and Star Destroyers and everything. So that's your battlefield.
Yeah.
It's just infinitely respawning guys. All the voices and faces were off by approximately 200%. And then this last sentence is hard to decode. I think we've even lost the meaning of this. Did Hark read the suck dick or eat ass scroll the day he died?
Yeah, I think that one might be lost to time. I don't know what that refers to. I don't know who Hark is. I don't know if he ate the suck dick or eat ass scroll before he died. I don't know what he died of.
I think he might be the big bad. I think he's the guy who falls down.
Balls!
He's
infinite.
He's guy who fall down.
Yeah.
Big bad.
Big hat. Okay, let's hear Masters of Teras Kasi.
I don't like Star Wars anymore. Masters of Teras Kasi is not a fighting game. Things that are trash. Turbo shit controls. Bad feedback. Unclear how the system works. When can you get up off the ground? When can you block? Would have been 200,000% unplayable without game FAQ use, but is now only 1200% unplayable. Everyone is the worst except for Fock. It is almost a little bit kind of cool that Boba Fett has Psycho Crusher and hidden missiles. One character is called Whore. Hail the new Emperor! Best fighting game ending ever, without a doubt. Leia should have crashed and died. Fock has invested in himself and is growing exponentially.
There it is.
Good that Fire Super does 100% on people who are sleeping.
Is this
I think that's Google Translate.
Google Translate?
Yeah, Goggle Translate. But sleeping is a pretty good, way to call when you're on the ground in a fighting game. You're sleeping.
Sleeping Dragon Punch.
Yeah.
Well, wake up.
Yeah. Exactly.
Sleeping, wake up. So obviously, Battlefront 2 dies and Masters of Teras Kasi moves on.
I feel like Battlefront 2 would have died no matter what game it was against, because it would almost be evil to give it any sort of recognition.
I'm gonna get into something here because we talked about how the game is bland and boring and it has Disney quips and it's devoid of soul. But story-wise, Star Wars Battlefront 2 EA is like the original alien queen of, hey, we're a bunch of Empire SS wet work literal mega Nazis. How do you become a dark secret SS trooper in the Empire? You don't do it by being they're pretty good at shooting the blaster. You do it by being really good at
being a
burning Jew aliens. So you have your character you play as is a Nazi woman with a Nazi squad.
Yes.
And the game is ostensibly about them going, this is the game. All hail the Nazi emperor. Kill all the alien Jews. 2 minutes later, rah, rah, rebels, go rebels.
Yeah.
You've done a lot of damage to this alliance.
Yes, we have, ma'am.
Welcome to the New Republic.
It's like, huh? Wait, being Nazi was bad? I don't know, I didn't know I was bad guy? And then it's like, they meet one rebel and who says you could be a part of something greater.
Yeah.
You could be a part of Mongolian Star Wars. And then just they're like, wow, I never looked at it like that. And then they force feed their ears with Mongolian throat singing or something. I don't know.
Obviously, the real proto version of this story is The Force Awakens. But in The Force Awakens, Finn, it's not good there either.
No.
But at least A, it hadn't really been done before. B, Finn is a random stormtrooper. He's a guy. And C, the story is they get abducted and mind raped. Mind infiltrated. In Force Awakens, whatever, that movie isn't good. But it's fine. All the games that come after this, because we played other EA games.
We have played modern Star Wars Disney games.
All of them are this shit. You are the crack SS fucking black leather wearing ass.
Yes.
This is our insignia. It has a skull and a burning alien baby on it.
Yes.
Crew. And you're like, obviously you're all human. You're all human supremacists. You all have 5 million kills. All you do is kill freighters of children. And then your boss or someone is like, I can't do it anymore. I've been having dreams and I can't do it anymore.
But boss, we're Nazis. We're supposed to kill everyone. Why are you changing your heart now?
I don't like it.
But boss, we had so much fun being Nazis.
I feel bad.
Feel bad? I feel bad listening to you not being a Nazi anymore. I'm gonna kill you, boss.
There it is.
Yeah. The worst thing also like about Battlefront, like because so many games have been like this, so it feels like we've just been playing the same game all over.
It's modern Star Wars. It's be Nazi.
Because I know that people have been like, you know, oh, it would be so cool if like ever since TIE Fighter, you know, people are like, oh, it's so cool when you get to play as the bad guys in Star Wars. Oh, you get to see things from the other perspective, and then, you know, like edgelords are like, actually the Empire did everything right. The Empire are actually our necessary force. Like who gives a shit? But
it's not even an issue. I think. Who cares?
Yeah.
Because sure, I get it. I get that people go like, okay, maybe we shouldn't make like a Stormtrooper game where you're, you know.
Yeah.
But don't make the game be about burning down huts.
Yeah.
And then you're fine. Nobody complains about the fact that you can play like a literal weirdo rapist in KOTOR.
Yes, that's what I was into before with the it's like the antithesis of creativity or something, because it just feels like we only know / are only, you know, allowed to make one kind of story in these kind of games. It has to be you're playing as super space Nazi and then you become a good guy.
I wonder if the point of this, the reason why they keep doing it, is because they have a multiplayer game where you will be able to play as both sides. So they just have to have you play as both the sides in the single player before you jump into the multiplayer.
It's so incredibly boring, and it's not like, you know, oh, whoa, do you just want to play as Nazis in the game or whatever? It's like, I want there to be a story in the game that is about something that seems a bit believable and also has, you know, some gravitas in character. Because the characters...
They change side... They have to change side 8% into the story max. That's the cutting point. They can't be super Nazis for longer than that, because then people will probably start thinking, wait a minute, how did they become super Nazis?
Yeah, exactly. But and that's like, these people they're all adults.
Yeah.
You know, they have been doing this for a long time, and sure, you know, Star Wars is, you know, a pretty grim setting when you get down to it. It's a galactical totalitarian regime ruling our people. But it's like, not everyone is a stormtrooper. Not everyone is a Nazi officer in Star Wars. And you don't play as, you know, Jan Stormtrooper in these games. You play as Jan Stormtrooper's boss.
Yeah, exactly. They are literal wet workers. Like,
yes. They are true believers up until the point they start losing and they join the rebels, and it's like, execute these guys.
These games are about playing as, you know, Nazi gold ass having Brazilian escapee guys.
Yeah.
We're in Brazil, dude. Let's party. Or like, you know, I used to build rockets for the Nazis. Now I build rockets for the American government. That's your character.
Oh, dude, I can't wait to play as Nazi Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
God damn it, Rogue One is already about Nazi Oppenheimer. I hate Disney. I wish...
It's trash. And I think some people...
I meant Empire Oppenheimer, not Nazi Oppenheimer.
Yeah, whatever. I think an argument some people would have is that, okay, these are just young people and they were the crack shots at the academy. But even if you make that argument, which I think is bullshit, because you would never put, someone straight out of the academy in your super duper Omega Elite SS team. But even if that were true, a big failing here is that even if your main character is that, they always turncoat with the entire squad.
Yeah.
And no fucking way is the entire SS squad made up of new recruits.
Yeah. It's extremely, like, you can say stuff like it's shallow writing, it's boring, but it's just, I feel like it's almost like damagingly naive and like insulting. Like how... Am I supposed to believe this?
Yeah, and it makes Star Wars retroactively way more fucked.
Yeah.
Because sure, Star Wars is, it isn't supposed to be presented. You could go, damn, the Emperor's Hitler. You could go, damn, the stormtroopers are Nazis. You can't do that analysis. The original movies are firmly saying, don't think about it too much.
Yeah.
These are cartoon villains.
Don't think about who the stormtrooper
Yeah.
is. They're armors running around.
And when you start introducing these real thought patterns into both movies and games, you end up with like, wait a minute, it's not that fun to cheer for the bad guy Palpatine. That's so funny. If you're like, wait a minute, he's like literally Hitler. And B, if people turncoat a bunch and they're like, look, we're 45-dimensional human characters, then you end up with like, okay, they besorb the Death Star. That's 4 million people dead.
Yeah, like, that's the classic, destroying the Death Star, well, Luke killed 1 billion trillion people. That's because in the context of the movies, that's the ultimate don't think about it.
Yeah.
Like it's war or whatever.
Yeah, we defeated evil.
Yeah, we defeated evil. It was this ball in space.
Yeah.
It was this space ball.
Yes.
And such things. But then when you put stories like this in it, it just becomes like this completely like
EA thinks it is adult and smart by going, think about it.
Yeah.
No. The adults realize that you can't think about it. You're not supposed to think about it. That's not the point of the story.
It's like, oh, the knight saving the princess from the dragon. But yeah, you gotta remember the knight is a noble. And, he's probably oppressing the peasants back home. And, if you watch Game of Thrones, you know what knights do, in the free time.
Did the princess need to be saved?
Yeah,
anyway?
and what's gonna happen to the princess? Is she just gonna live with the knight? Hello? The princess is her own person. And what about the dragon? Is the dragon truly villainous?
Yeah.
It's
like,
a
beast.
Yeah. Just stop.
Yeah.
Just don't.
Don't. And if you're gonna do it once and then never again because you realize it was trash.
Don't do it 9 times in 9 separate goddamn Star Wars video games that we have to play.
Yes. Stop making me play as the Nazi.
Yes. Stop making me play Star Wars games.